Everyone in the world needs to be loved, so are you loving them the way that they need to be loved? Because at the end of the day, we want to fill people's love tanks around us because people are feeling empty. Hey girl, so glad that you tuned in. My name's Bethany and this is the Make Up Your Mind channel. You're listening to episode number 43. Whether you're actually putting on your makeup, maybe you're getting ready for work or school. I know when I'm making this episode right now, school actually just started back up. Yay! Wherever life finds you today, hopefully it's in the coffee drive-thru. I hope that you remember that there are people in the world that are for you, cheering you on to succeed. I hope that I get to be one of those people for you today, standing like a cheerleader on the sideline of your life, reminding you to make up your mind all day long about the small things that add up to huge things later on. Girl, how has it been a whole year since we've been together? I cannot even believe it. And to celebrate, we are going to be starting a new series. We're going to talk about all things relationships and marriage and the 5 love languages. We're titling it The Making of Love. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're consuming this content, and let's get to it. Girl, I cannot wait to show you my new drugstore mascara favorite. Okay, some of you guys know that I got the fun privilege to go to Hawaii on vacation. And so naturally, I needed to get a good waterproof mascara because I was going to be doing a lot of swimming, probably a lot of sweating in the humidity, and I wanted to make sure that I still looked awesome for photos, if you know what I mean. So I tried a new drugstore mascara, which is always a little bit risky, but let me tell you about this one. This is by Maybelline. It's called The Falsies and it's Push Up Angel. And girl, this one delivered while I was gone for sure. You'll need to try it. It's just $8. But girl, not only is it buildable, but the brush is so much smaller than any other mascara brush that I've ever used before. It's like a quarter of this size. It only has bristles on one side. And at first I was like concerned because it felt like a lot different of a maneuver to put on, but once I got the hang of it, it was actually much more precise and my eyelashes feel like they stay way more separated than clumped together. So if you want to try something new, I would definitely recommend this one. It is waterproof, so you do have to use a makeup remover, but I do that anyways. So give it a try. You can get it at pretty much anywhere because it's Maybelline. Well, ladies, I am so excited to get to start a new series today. It's called The Making of Love. And yes, I did want to get your attention with that title. We're going to be talking all about the making of love via the 5 love languages. Of course, we're going to be talking about all kinds of relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend. We'll be talking about marriage, dating, when you're a fiance, when you're engaged, as well as just friendships in general. Please, if you have any questions about relationships in general or questions about the 5 love languages, I would love to hear them so that I can answer them within this series. Feel free to DM me on Instagram because I would just love to get some feedback from you all. Some of you, and probably many of you, have heard of the 5 love languages. It was a study that was put into a book form several years ago, and it's all about the science of how we love to give love and how we love to receive love, and how there are different ways and styles that each person kind of leans towards. Here's a little secret that I'm going to tell you right at the top of this series. There's really only one love language, though. There's really only one way to make love happen. Time and time again, that has been proven over and over again. All of you guys think I'm going to say sex, but no, that is not what I'm about to talk about. Although sex is, in marriage, the great healer of any miscommunication or any dissonance that might be existing. The love we're talking about today is going to be a much broader sense than just the love type of eros, which is the Greek word for erotic love. We're talking about love for your spouse, love for your friend, love for your family member, and even love for the person that you see walking down the road. This one universal language of love is self-sacrifice. Has anyone ever sacrificed something for you? Anything at all? Like maybe their snack, their spot in line, maybe their time, their energy. Maybe they shared their notes with you in school. Maybe it was the TV remote. Like you knew they had better things to do with their time or more important things to do, and they still sacrificed for you anyways. That is the recipe for love. When we talk about relationships of any kind, there has to be a healthy dose of the ability for one person to sacrifice for the other. So tell me, when that person sacrificed for you, I'll give you a minute, make sure you think of an actual example. When that person did that thing for you, how did you feel towards them? You liked them a lot better, didn't you? Suddenly, even if you might have not really liked that person all that much before, suddenly some feelings of like fondness start to grow in your heart towards that person because they did something kind and very generous and self-sacrificial on your behalf. For a moment, they put you before themselves. What a thought. Putting someone else's needs, wants, and desires before my own? Usually, and I say usually because this is not always the case. Usually when you give of yourself to someone else, that person then desires to return the favor. It's called filling your love tank or letting your love tank be filled. Society today thinks that love is just a feeling. And once I've lost that feeling completely, well, I must not be in love anymore. What they don't realize is that love is actually made. And the funny thing is they talk about making love all the time. But you don't just make love by having sex. Making love actually means filling the other person's love tank. Pause. I want to just pause right here, right now, and make sure that you heard what I just said. Filling the other person's love tank. Not your love tank, the other person's. What I don't want is for us to talk all about the love languages and then for you to go around demanding that other people fill your love tank, because we all have a deep desire to want to be loved and needed. Let me tell you, that won't work anyways. Everyone knows that once you have to say what you want, you no longer want it that way anyways. If I have to tell my husband to love me with words, to write me cards, then if he writes me a card, it's kind of like, well, I just told you to do that. You want them to do it naturally, on their own, thought up by themselves, because that's actually them showing you that they are thinking about you and that they love you. So don't be that girlfriend that causes their SO so much grief because you're just demanding things all the time. And don't make him have to guess in between the lines of what you're not saying and give him a bunch of grief over that either. Nobody likes that person. Don't do that. The language of love is actually self-sacrifice. The more you give love, the more love actually will be given back to you. But it has to be done sacrificially and without regard for yourself. If love isn't returned in that instance, there actually might be some other things in the relationship that you should look at. And possibly the person that you're in the relationship with might not be healthy. They might actually have some stuff going on that they need to deal with on their own before they can really be a part of a loving, committed relationship. So like I said before, the 5 love languages are different ways that we want to give love naturally, and also the ways that we want to receive love, the ways that we feel most loved. So this is going to be a 2-part series. Firstly, it's going to be you learning about yourself. You're going to be learning about how you feel most loved and how you first naturally want to give love, because usually we have one way that we want to love everyone. But the thing is that that's not how everyone needs or wants to be loved. So hopefully you'll know how to communicate to people how you most want and desire to be loved by the end of this series. But secondly, it's also so that you can recognize the people around you that you have relationship with, maybe what their love languages might be, so that you can actually do a better job loving the people in your life, whether it's your boyfriend or your mom or your dad or your husband or whoever it might be. Because everyone in the world needs to be loved. So are you loving them the way that they need to be loved? Because at the end of the day, we want to fill people's love tanks around us because people are feeling empty, just like you're feeling empty inside all the time. I mean, at least I know I am. I think that as we begin to fill other people's love tanks around us, that's going to build a culture of actually loving and caring for one another. And just watch what happens as you fill the people around you. They're going to give back to you, and you're actually going to end up feeling more loved and cared for. Lastly, I just want to take a minute to make a note about Jesus and how he actually showed us that self-sacrifice is the language of love. He sacrificed his very life so that you and I could have a relationship with the Father, so that your sin would no longer stand in the way of you being saved. Ladies, he did it without asking. And he did it without expecting anything in return. Jesus single-handedly showed us what real love is. And that's why I believe that the universal language of love is self-sacrifice without expecting anything in return. He showed us what real love is, and he showed us how to create it in the lives of the people around us. Quickly as we end, Romans 5:8 says this: Jesus presented himself for sacrificial death when we were far too weak and too rebellious to do anything to get ourselves ready. And even if we hadn't been so weak, we wouldn't have known what to do anyway. We can understand someone dying for a person worth dying for, and we can understand how someone good and noble could inspire us to selfless sacrifice. But God put his love on the line for us by offering his son in sacrificial death while we were no use to him whatsoever at all. In other translations, it says, while we were still sinners, that's when Christ died for us. That's when he sacrificed himself. It wasn't when we were loving him. It's when we had turned our backs on him that he decided to reach out towards us with sacrificial love and say, no matter what, I still love you anyways. What a powerful message, and a message that our world desperately is looking for right now. Girl, let's be women of sacrificial love. Let's be people that bring healing through that love to the people around us, be it our family, be it our friends, our significant others, or even just the people that we meet on the street. Girl, thanks so much for joining me here today. Be sure to take a minute to subscribe wherever you're consuming this content. And just remember this week that you are loved, you are seen, and you are valuable. There's nobody quite like you in this world. Girl, until we see you next time, I will catch you on the socials.